Welcome to our second podcast in the My Wellbeing series. For Men's Health Week this week, we are joined by Neil Hall, our UK and Ireland Managing Director. Neil talks us through his past and how he overcame mental health issues to get to where he is today. I hope you enjoy listening. Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, very good.
Good.
Back from a bit of a holiday time, so yeah, nicely refreshed.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me. Just to give you a little bit of a background as to why we're doing this podcast, I really wanted to know more about you, and I'm sure loads of people around Computacenter who have heard about Neil, but they want to know more about him.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
But also it's Men's Health Week this week, and I don't think we look enough towards men's health, and we just want to encourage men to talk about their health a lot more, not just their mental health but also their physical health.
Yeah.
We've done a lot at Computacenter, I think, over the past 6 months on mental health, and we're looking to do more on physical health. So I
Good.
would love to hear more about you, your health, and what makes you tick.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll give it a go. Might be 3-4 minutes long, but we'll see how it goes.
So I think my first question is, who is Neil?
Look, before I answer that, just want to say thank you for joining. I think the short interactions we've had. We did a webinar together, and got to know you a little bit more. Delighted that you've joined. I think we have done a decent amount of things in the last year, but I think since you've joined, really, you've started to bring a new impetus to this subject. And I think well-being is just a great fundamental part of why people stay at Computacenter. But we're being more serious about it now, and not only looking out for people, checking in on people, but more apps, more kind of professional external help, which I think you are, advertising more internally, and that's engaging more people, and that's going to help a lot of people. And we don't really know how far that can go, but it's you help one person, it could be a huge material thing. So thank you for joining, really.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you.
No problem.
I know, and I have heard that you were a big advocate of well-being before I joined, and I think that's why I really wanted to reach out to you at the first instance, because if anyone's going to support well-being within Computacenter and really push it as far as we can globally as well, that's one of my dreams, is to have a global well-being strategy, would definitely be you. Good.
Well, no, happy to help, and I think to answer your question a bit more about me, I don't know really where to start. Originally, you probably can't tell from the accent anymore, but grew up in the northeast, born in Durham, raised in Sunderland. Parents, sister, really very much involved in the health service. Actually, my dad worked in the health service pretty much all of his life. After being a builder and having no education, he went back to school and sort of educated himself. And my sister got into healthcare very young, graduated, and she's now a consultant in breast cancer, which is fantastic. Incredibly proud, a proper job as I call it, So health is pretty close to me. My family always wanted me to get in the NHS. It was a job for life, and pension and final salary and all that good stuff. I remember doing jobs in the summers. Mum and Dad always had me out working. Dad would find different jobs for me. So I worked in, places where people were on suicide watch, people that were sectioned. I was probably 16, and there were kids that were 18, 19 that had tried 2-3 times to commit suicide. And I was typically playing pool with them and just chatting with them and opening them up a little bit, sort of thing. So, I guess it goes back a long way, some of this sort of subject, but so a hard-working family in a probably not the nicest area of the country, so to speak. I love it and love going back there, but I think there was only me and one other person in my class that went to university, and great place that I'm very proud of. Went on from there, went to Newcastle Uni, failed a year in economics, and was living at home, and met a girl on holiday and she was going to Bournemouth Uni. I went, oh, why don't I go there? So I went to Bournemouth Uni. So I'm probably a little bit, make decisions a little bit too quickly sometimes, but it worked out, and then got into IT. That was the only course I could get onto, business and IT, with the grades that I got from A-levels. Went there and then fell into a job as a network engineer in a distributor, which is still around these days, now called Westcon, and sort of fell into IT, so to speak. Always tried to get rid of computers when I was in school. Didn't want to do it at A level, but ended up doing it, and then ended up having to do it at degree level because it was all that was there. And so I guess better born lucky than skillful, I'd say. That's a little bit about me. I don't know.
That's amazing. That is amazing how just one decision that you made to go to Bournemouth Uni, and here you are today.
Yeah, it is a bit of a sliding doors moment. Then through work, met my now wife and have 3 children. 21, Tom he's at Canterbury, Kent University. Will, who plays football, he's 18. And Eloise, who's at school but plays football as well. She's 15. So, yeah.
Fantastic. You're a very, very busy dad then.
A busy dad, yeah. A taxi dad, yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, just hearing about your family and your upbringing, I think says a lot about how you feel about well-being. You can see it. You can absolutely see why you're so passionate about it and why you get it. A lot of people, I think, don't quite understand what well-being actually means. And they always just assume it's all about, setting up some yoga classes and some Pilates classes and off you go.
And it can be a bit of that.
Absolutely. There's, I love a good yoga session. I love a good Pilates session. But I think looking deeper into the whole mental health sphere, you really hit the nail on the head where you were talking about when you were younger, you were surrounded by people who unfortunately, wanted to go down that route of not being here anymore.
Yeah, and I think I actually, at the time, I probably thought my dad had some foresight and he was giving me some kind of, view into the future and helping me better understand the privilege that I had, so to speak, even though, it was probably a more challenging community, but I was in a great place in that sort of community. But in the end, when he started asking me to go and do a job in the incineration department in the hospital and stuff like that, I realised it was just there was a vacancy there to do something. So, but it was more, work hard, play hard type, mantra, and that's my family. I think we enjoy life, and my grandma used to say, live for the day sort of thing. It was all about don't put things off, do them now, enjoy it.
Absolutely, I like that a lot. So do you feel at all that your upbringing has had an impact on your mental health at all?
Yeah.
Whether good or bad?
Yeah, I think my family were pretty involved in sporting activities, organising. My dad ran a football club. He pretty much built the stand. It's like a sort of step 4, step 5 football club, so of a decent level. And it was that sort of work hard mentality, but we didn't really talk too much, I think, about feelings and so forth. And I think that's affected different members of my family in a different way, and at periods of time affected me. Probably less from a positive side, in terms of, getting access and seeing different people in challenging situations, but actually more from I realise now you've got to speak up and you've got to talk and be more open about your feelings than kind of, try and solve them all yourself, so to speak, because you really just put them under the carpet.
Absolutely. And do you feel comfortable about opening up about your mental health?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's probably a period in my time where it was probably the most toughest. I'm happy to talk about that, but more at a sort of macro level, I think I have this kind of principle, which I tried to bring through in the sanctuary a little bit when we kind of kicked that off in a sort of amateurish but kind of focused desire of getting content,
amateurish at all.
Trying to get sort of content out to people and different people to come and experience. And it was really something I read maybe 10 years ago, and it was something like The Keys to a Happy Life, and I don't know the author or where I listened to it, some podcast or something, but it was 4 things, which were eat well, sleep well, try and move as much as you can, and think positively. And if you can grab those four things and in some way kind of measure yourself against those things and think, am I eating the right foods? Am I consuming the right things? Am I moving enough? Am I getting enough steps, or am I doing half an hour activity? Do I get my heart rate up? Am I sleeping well? You get all these apps and so forth to check how you're sleeping, but really, are you getting 7 or 8 hours a night, and are you restless? And am I positively thinking? Have I got a positive outlook, or am I going into more negative cycles? And just be more conscious about those four areas. I think that for me is probably one of the more positive aspects of, or let's say more a useful tool to kind of look at and keep a check on every week or two, sort of thing. But yeah, open to talk about my mental health, and I think where I think I've got really, I'm quite good and fit mentality now. But there were periods of time in the early 2000s where that wasn't the case, and I was in a pretty bad situation. Probably for 2 years, maybe even longer. I remember I bought a house. I was pretty much renting it out to my mates from uni. My girlfriend got pregnant. We got pregnant, should I say? Not too long, maybe in the first year of meeting, and then obviously, girlfriend becomes fiance. Get focused on the wedding day, and that's big and so forth, and that's expensive, and I've still got debt from university and not only the house and so forth. And then my employer at the time, GE Capital, I get an email saying Computacenter are acquiring GE. So all the big changes happened within a kind of year or 2 year period. I got into Computacenter and really wanted to make an impact. Didn't feel I was making an impact. Then got an opportunity to work on a big deal and got completely consumed with it, and everything became about that. I'm sure my wife was sick of me talking about this deal, and it ran for over a year. These things do. I remember not taking paternity leave because the final presentation was there a week or so after my second son was born. So that whole period was just stress, and I struggled to at times get out of the house. Could struggle in social situations. Just feel like panic attack type on coming, that sort of thing, and had to find a way out, and had to find some tools to help me think more positively, but didn't speak to anybody about it at the time. So that could have been a month, 2 month problem, but it ended up being a probably 2-3 year problem.
I think that's a really important thing that you've just mentioned there, where a problem that you can solve quite quickly, if not looked at and solved quickly enough, can escalate, and it can have long-term health issues, both physically and mentally. Thank you for being so open and honest about this, but I would really love to hear about how you actually got out of that.
Sure.
What kind of help did you seek?
So I remember, thinking, just to give you some of the sort of symptoms, the sort of daily sort of symptoms, feel sick, wake up in the morning, sort of feel sick, just anxiety. I'd say anxiety is probably the key word. Struggle to want to go to dinner with other people because, could I not eat? What if I can't eat? And, how awkward and embarrassing is that? All that sort of stuff. So it's just little things, but all the time. And when that is constantly on you, that just takes its toll. You just, you think about yourself and you think, how weird is this? Well, you take yourself out of your body and go, why am I not able to be normal, sort of thing, or what you perceive as normal. So I remember going to see a consultant. I can't remember if Google was around, but found some psychologist or something, and I drove there. I went around to some housing estate. Some woman, kids were upstairs. I was chatting with them. I was sitting in the room thinking, this is not working. This is not what healthcare is supposed to be. So sort of blanked that idea out. And and then tried different things that didn't really work. I did start to try more meditation, and that started to make some good progress. But that probably took me to another place, which ended up giving me what I think is the most important tool that I've ever realized and used. And I go as far to say that I am really happy that those 3 years happened. I'm really happy I went through them, because I found this tool that got me out of it. And now I know I've got that tool. I've got the confidence that if I ever feel I'm drifting that way, which, touching wood, that hasn't happened for 15 years, but I think it's because I have this tool that's helped me get out. And what that was, and I've spoken to a few people about this. Actually, I've spoken to associates quite a lot about this, the graduates, the associate schemes that we run. So they'll be sick to death of hearing this, but in the spirit of openness for those that haven't, I read a book which was called Change Your Life in 7 Days by Paul McKenna. Around that time, it was it was number one in the book charts. I think it had a hypnotherapy DVD in the back of it as well. You can still go online now and go onto YouTube and put Change Your Life in 7 Days, in free 28-minute video. You can't be anywhere near a car or machinery. You've got to be lying in bed and just kind of listening to it. But that was kind of hypnotherapy. That was part of the tool, but it kind of made me realize, that sort of meditation, that you could control your own mind. And I think if you can control your own mind, only I guess to an extent, then that's an incredibly powerful thing to have. And I think it came from the book, but it might not. So forgive me if I'm kind of leading people down the wrong path. But in essence, this trick was that for maybe 20 minutes a night, you would lie there in a room in darkness and put your thumb and your forefingers together, and you'd hold them together for that period of time with quite a press on them, I guess like a meditation sort of pose, and think of the most powerful things that have happened to you, most positive things that have happened to you. Make them more colourful, make them louder, exaggerate them. It could have been, meeting somebody, winning a race, scoring a goal, winning a bid, whatever it was. Think of the most. So it's not the most taxing 20 minutes of your life, but even exaggerate it, make it bigger and brighter and louder. And all the time you're doing that, you're pressing your thumb and your forefinger together. And I'd say after a few weeks of doing that, you don't have to do it religiously every night, but do it when you have some time. And if you're struggling to make time, then do it more. I think that's what they say about yoga. If you're struggling to do 20 minutes of yoga, then make sure you've got 30 minutes. And what happened was, over a period of 4, 5, 6 weeks, whenever I needed some confidence, I felt anxious, I just squeezed my thumb and my finger together. I do it now. I still get powerful, positive feelings just rushing to the surface. So if you have this negative cycle, like you're worried about something coming up, and actually that can be a good thing. So, you do have to prepare for things. You can't ignore those signals that come to you. But if you can control them, and, just as simple as squeezing your thumb and your finger together to cut off the negative energy that's being built, that will put you in a spiral, that will take you to places you don't want to go, then that's a great way to just literally cut off those negative thoughts. So yeah, it was just a bit of a tool that worked for me. I don't know if it works for others, but it's worked for me.
Power of positivity and power of positive thinking, I think is the most underrated tool that we can use in our everyday lives. I can't meditate. I hate meditating. Not gonna lie. I'll sit there, and I've tried and my mind wanders.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, and I think you've definitely hit the nail on the head there, where you said that works for you. So I think everyone needs to go away and understand themselves. And you did exactly that, didn't you? You understood yourself. You tried different things. It didn't work. counselling has definitely come a long way since when you went
Yeah,
to
big
a
time, right?
counsellor stage.
I'm not dismissing counselling. I'm just struggle with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. But the power of talking in itself
Yeah.
and positive interactions, I think, can have a huge impact on our everyday lives. And then bringing that into work as well. Thinking positively, I believe that everything you've done has probably got you to where you are now. You know,
Yeah, quite
and
possibly. As I say, I
will
wouldn't
catapult
change
you
it.
even more. You know, it's a great tool to encourage people, especially the graduates starting out in a new career and starting out in such a big organization, to have these good coping mechanisms and have these good tools that they can pick up and use.
I think it's right to talk about, you know, some of the younger people and, you know, coming into work and so forth, but equally, it's actually a different demographic that probably needs it more, because I think some of the younger millennials are more open to talk about their feelings. Maybe I'm generalising too much, and maybe people more my age and older still, you know, struggle. And I think you know, this is not a podcast about mental health; it's about well-being, but it is one big part of that. I think of that as one of the 4 areas that I think about. You know, positive thinking, but sleeping is a massive area.
Don't we
and
know
when
it?
we brought a lot of experts in to talk about sleeping, and it was like a competition. They were saying, look, you might think the eating and the moving around and positive thinking, but this is the most important one. I tell you, if you don't get enough rest, you can't do the other things in the right way. So yeah, there's different aspects to look at.
And do you get enough sleep?
I get to sleep really well.
That's good.
But when I wake up, I'm up and I want to be out, and I want, you know, I had a paper round when I was a kid from 12, 13. So I wake up at 5 o'clock. I want to be up and out and doing stuff. It just seems to be in. But when I'm early to bed, probably 10 o'clock. So I probably get 7 hours, I think 6, 7 hours.
You get more than me. Most parents of young children. Yeah. That's fantastic. Is there anything in terms of wellbeing here at Computacenter that you would love to push more?
Yeah, I would. I know we did our interface the other week, and I know, you know, a good few people watched that. But I still, even though I was part of that, I still don't really understand all of the things that we've got. Like at the weekend, you know, I checked myself, and I think actually post-COVID, I take a much more active look at my body and, you know, check for lumps and bumps and so forth. And I have, it's certainly brought health much more to the forefront. And I think everybody wants, well, I have to say everybody, many people want to be more, get more fitter and look after themselves, I think, you know, to challenge whatever comes in front of them. But I still, if I need a doctor, I still don't, it doesn't come to me quickly. How do I get the doctor online? How do I do that? So I need something that can kind of visually show me what have we got and how do I access easily. Because I think 95% of us here at Computacenter don't know all of the tools that we've got available to us, which most of them are free of charge. So yeah, I think I need more in that space.
Absolutely, and thank you for that. And I promise that will be something that I would definitely push for more.
Which is the doctor one?
Oh, absolutely. So we have it's called the Zurich GP 24/7. Okay. Yeah. Right. So I will make a conscious effort to push that out more. But for everyone listening, we have an amazing EAP provider who are health assured, who've come in via our Zurich Income Protection, and they provide a whole host of apps from Healthy Advantage to the Zurich GP app as well. I know myself personally, trying to get an appointment with my normal GP is a nightmare. Yep. I have to go on and write an essay about what's wrong with me and, you know, when I'm available. But with this GP app, you literally will get a call back within 3 hours. And it's face-to-face, so they do FaceTime.
Brilliant.
And if they need to refer you, you'll be able to get referred. Unfortunately, any referrals will be at the cost of the person or the employee. Yep. But I will absolutely make a more conscious effort to promote that.
So do I go via 1cc to get?
So if you go onto the My Wellbeing 1cc page, EAP, and all the information you need is on there.
Okay, I'll do that.
Fantastic. Neil, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know you're a very, very busy person, so I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Thank you so much for doing this podcast with me today, and thank you for being such a great advocate for well-being.
No problem. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.